What's up, Burn Nation? Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Klein, and today we are going to do another Q&A session. So thank you guys for submitting questions. I love being able to answer them. I've got 4 Q&A questions that I'm going to go through today on the podcast. So number 1 is, what is personal growth for you professionally and personally, and how do you achieve it? So when I think about that question, the first thing that came to mind for me professionally is becoming a better leader. That's something that I've really been so interested and focused on over the last 2 years. I mean, I've been a leader my whole career with Burn Bootcamp, but it's just been in different capacities. And obviously, I've learned so much. The leader that I was even a year ago is completely different than the leader that I am today. But I'm constantly trying to take my leadership to another level, whether that's learning how to have difficult conversations with people, learning to face uncertainty differently, because people are looking at me, right? And so if I'm scared and I'm not confident in something, that's going to trickle down in my entire organization. So just really making sure I stay in tune with the influence that I can have as a leader to all the people that are around me. And you know, there's times where I have these limiting beliefs that I'm like, no one listens to my podcast, no one really cares what I think. Like, that's not the case, even though I tell myself that. You know, my words are very meaningful to people, my actions are very meaningful to people. So for me, it's continuing to be a better leader. And that even goes to like how I show up when I'm out in the field and I, you know, come to people's gyms, and how I interact with them, and how I represent Burn Bootcamp. And so that's what professional growth looks like for me right now, is to just really lean into how can I have a strong mindset to make sure that if I'm feeling a certain way, I know how to channel it, and I know what the right outlets are to talk about some of that fear and uncertainty, and what the wrong outlets are, and just how when I show up, I really need to show up because it has impact. And so that's professional growth for me right now. Personal growth, I would say it's me getting to be a better mother and a wife, and learning a lot of the skills that I'm learning professionally and carrying that into my home life too. So I'm really big on communication right now. I'm really big on just my daughter especially, like she's 7 and Max is 5, so he's not far behind, but just really like starting to take life lessons and make sure my kids are truly understanding some of these big life lessons and these values. And just, I feel like that's my next phase in motherhood, as my kids start to age a little bit more. It's like, you know, in the prior phase, and I'm still in it with Maxwell or with Ryan, you know, it's just like basic needs, right? And like, they're a toddler, and you're making sure that they're loved and they're fed and they're developing their words and they're, you know, walking and all the milestones, right? So like, I feel like I've really had to shift my mind from that phase of life to now like where Cameron and Max are, where they're in school and they're around other people and they have influence, and how do I want them to show up? And it all starts with me. It starts with me and Devin, and how we emulate our communication in the home, how we emulate our relationship, and just that love and support that we give each other. It's so much translated, you know, and impacts how our children are. So the same way I show up as a leader at work, I want to make sure that I don't neglect that at home, because my kids are watching and they're the biggest influence, right? They're the most important things to me. And so, you know, it's been a challenge because my home is my safe place. And so there's definitely days where like I show up at work and I'm like, I've got to have it all together. I've got to have a smile on my face. I've got to be the leader. And I'm going to be honest, like some days you don't want that, right? You want to stay home. I want to work from home. I want to just have a moment, right? But I've got meetings. People like depend on me. They're planning to, you know, get information from me. And so there are definitely days where I come home and like that's my safe space. So like I kind of shut down and I'm just kind of like not in the best mood, or not communicating well with Devin, or not talking a lot because I've been talking all day. And so really like overcoming that and making sure that that's not brought home, because now it's like now those are the hours with my kids, and that's the impact that I want to have, is that positivity and like how I treat them and the lessons that I'm trying to instill in them. Like, that's the time that I need to do it. So that's professional and personal growth for me. It's really just being a better human for the people that love and need me. What strategies and tips, that was the follow-up question, do you use to maintain it? So strategies, I hired a business coach who kind of serves as a life coach at times. We invested in a communication training for several of our leaders at Burn Boot Camp. So that's been like an 8-week course where we read a book and we watched different trainings of how to have better communication. And I read books. I read a ton of leadership books, podcasts. So those are my strategies. My strategies are just really like getting as much as I can, but not just letting it stop there. Like being intentional about practicing those tools, even though it may not be perfect, right? Having difficult conversations. I think I mentioned that, earlier. Like those are the ones that was something that I struggled with in the past. I don't like hurting people's feelings. I don't like conflict. However, I noticed that my avoidance of difficult conversations didn't allow people to understand what was in my head, right? If I'm proud of them, or if I'm disappointed in something, or if they didn't meet my expectations. So without me having difficult conversations, or sometimes uncomfortable conversations, how are they going to get better? How are they going to know that I actually, want something different out of them? So learning how to have really productive conversations and just starting to practice that. So that's another strategy, is like, don't just have it up here in your head, like actually apply it. And it's going to feel a little messy sometimes. Give yourself grace. Ask other people to give you grace. Like, we're all human beings. So it's really just about like implementing the things you're learning right away and just do it messy. So that's my strategy and tip. Number 2, where do you get your inspiration from? And is there anyone that inspires you? So I've said in the past, my mom and my sister are huge inspirations to me. They're just people that I want to make proud. And I am inspired by both of them in different ways. My mom, the fact that she raised my sister and I as a single mom. She woke up one day and her husband was killed in a car accident. She became a widow. She became a single mom. She lost a lot. And I look back on my childhood, and although I lost a lot too, like my mom just really showed up, and like I can't imagine how painful that was for her, and just how she overcame a lot of that struggle to make sure that my sister and I were always well taken care of and supported and loved, and instilled great values in us. So like I have this deep appreciation for my mom, and she just inspires me because she not always has a smile on her face, but like she showed up, and I think that's really, really hard to do. And so I pull that on days that I don't feel like I want to show up, and I use that as inspiration of like, my life is not bad, right? Like, I have my husband here. My kids have their father here. Like, I cherish that. And if you've ever gone through, grief or loss of really like close loved one, it's very easy to put your mind back into that grief and like that event that happened. And it should be a constant reminder that like, we're here today and we can live for today, and like we can appreciate the things that we do have, because you know what it's like to lose it. So my mom inspires me for that. My sister inspires me. She's a business owner. She's a mom. She became a mom before me. She's my older sister. I've always looked up to her for parenting, motherhood tips, and just she's my confidant. Like, she's the one I call every morning on my way to work, and we talk about our day, even though we literally just talked to each other 24 hours prior. Like, there's not a lot that has changed, but she's the one that I can go to and talk about anything that's going on in my life. And she gives me advice. She doesn't judge me. She loves me. She supports me. She always has my back. And that's pretty rare to find in people. So she inspires me. She owns several businesses. She supports her husband's business. Like, we've always been really close. And so she inspires me. But Outside of those people, I will say that I am so inspired by just Burn Nation, like the people in Burn Nation. I have said this before, but the people the members and the franchise partners and the trainers and our operations staff and Child Watch, like my employees, just that's what inspires me to keep moving, keep moving forward, to keep going on the hard days, because I just don't want to let any of you guys down. And I don't carry that so heavy where it like paralyzes me, but it's always in the back of my head where like I need to keep moving and keep pushing and keep moving forward for Burn Nation, because they need this place, they need this community. And so that's what keeps me motivated day after day. Some strategies. Oh, I'm sorry. I just answered another question. What keeps me motivated? Well, I just answered it. Number 3, what keeps me motivated? You guys keep me motivated. My kids keep me motivated. My friends and family keep me motivated. Like, motivation obviously comes in so many different ways, but I think when I read this question, what keeps me motivated in my day-to-day? So what keeps me motivated to eat healthy and to work out is I value just health and vitality so much. Like, I want to live a long life, and I want to do so many things with the life that I've been given. And so eating well, taking care of my body, only letting like positive energy around me, like not dwelling on bad things. Like, it's just, that's where my mindset is, and that's what keeps me motivated, because I don't allow the detractors to like enter the force field. So I'm super protective of like who I listen to and who I want to be like around. And I think I'm very lucky because I'm around some amazing people, and Burn Nation is full of amazing people that have that same mentality of like moving forward and like eating good and taking care of your body and taking care of your mindset and like really trying to put yourself first to be able to pour into other people. So I'm motivated by the people around me because I choose my people wisely. What motivates me to like go into work and like keep growing our business and keep expanding and keep innovating, it's just, I feel very fortunate that Devin and I have been given this opportunity, and we don't want to waste it. And so every day is a gift, and it's like every day I have the opportunity to expand our territory and just expand our mission, expand our network, expand our impact. And so I don't want to waste that. And there's brands that are here today, gone tomorrow, and not that I believe that that's going to happen with Burn Bootcamp, because I just know that we have such a solid foundation, but it's always a competition out there, guys. So like, I'm motivated to do the best every single day because I know someone's coming behind me that wants this spot. So that motivates me, and it motivates me for you because I want to protect this culture. I want to protect what we have because it's so, so special to me. Number 4, what are my non-negotiables? I'm not the best at non-negotiables. I'm going to be honest. I think that's something that I do constantly have to work on. And I'm probably overthinking this question a little bit, because I'm thinking, what do I do every single day that's like a non-negotiable? And I don't think I have an everyday non-negotiable. I have weekly non-negotiables, and I have like monthly non-negotiables. But every day is a little bit different, and I don't put pressure on myself to do something every single day, because then when I don't do it, it messes with my head. So what are my non-negotiables? Well, for sure it's like meal prepping, like on a weekly basis. So again, that's not an everyday thing, but setting up my house for success and making sure that like I have good food in my house and good food for my kids, myself, meal prepping, making sure that I have lunches planned. I didn't used to do that, and I think that I saw a direct correlation between my energy, my mood, my vitality, and then like what I was doing to prepare myself for the week. So I've created this non-negotiable of planning out my food and all of that stuff. So I would say that's a non-negotiable. Another non-negotiable for me is just spending about 5 minutes praying every day, which is another new thing for me. I've really developed a new relationship with God, and it's something that I've had to tap into over the last couple of years to really get me through some hard times. So I've created that non-negotiable for me is like, even if it's 5 minutes, I've got an app on my phone. It's a Bible verse, it's a prayer. It's just a couple minutes to set some intentions in my day and just fill my cup up a little bit with those words. So that's a more recent non-negotiable. And gosh, I think that's about it for me. Like, oh, here's another non-negotiable. This is a work one. My calendar, like setting up my calendar on a Sunday or reviewing my calendar and reviewing my week on a Sunday is a non-negotiable for me. If I don't do it, life is chaotic for me. So I go through every day. I understand what I'm going to do on a Sunday, what I'm going to do. I write things down as a to-do list, or just how do I need to prepare for the week? What do I need to, what schedules do I need to create for my kids, for my husband, for myself? So I guess looking into, that kind of goes back to like setting my home up for success. That also is that in the workplace where I need to kind of prepare myself. I'm not a day-by-day person where I'm just like the night before I look and see what I'm going to be doing the next day. I need like a 7-day, 14-day view. So I'm constantly looking ahead of like, what do I have coming up? So that's what helps me. So how do you create non-negotiables and how do you navigate them through your life and work? I think non-negotiables are something that's like trial and error and just really getting in tune with what works for you. What routines make you feel good, and what are some routines that you need to create that would make your day-to-day better? So I just think it's really tapping into like, do you need to listen to a motivational podcast every morning? Like, where are you feeling the worst in your day? Or where are you feeling overwhelmed or anxious? Like what's first, get in tune with that. And then you got to think about, okay, how can I help build myself up? Or how can I help prepare myself better? So I think that's like, if I think back to my meal prep example, you know, I got in tune with like, when I'm not prepped and I don't think about like bringing my food to the office and understanding what I'm going to eat, I end up eating out, and then I end up not feeling good, and then I end up like bloated. So like, it's like getting a layer and a layer and a layer deeper into like your symptoms a little bit of like what's going on in your head and your body that you don't like, and peel that layer back a little bit and be like, why is this happening? Am I having chaotic mornings because I'm not getting 5 minutes to myself before my kids wake up and setting intentions for my day, or listening to some positive affirmations, or praying, or listening to a motivational podcast? Like, would that help, right? Then you start to like incorporate that in your life and set some goals of like, how can I bring that stuff in? And if it's working for you, then make it a non-negotiable, and tell the people around you, like, these are the things that I need to do in order to be successful. So that's how I create them. It's an ebb and flow for me, what my non-negotiables are. I'm not a strict regimen person because my life is so fluid, I feel like, that I don't want to say like, okay, here's my schedule for the day and I have to do this every day, and if I don't do it, then, you know, I'm failing. That's too rigid for me. So I stay fluid, and I'm just constantly kind of in check with my routines in life, how I'm feeling, and what certain correlations are. So that is the podcast today, guys. Thank you for listening. And as you guys know, I'm on Instagram, so come follow me, morgan.a.klein. Go ask me some questions on there. I occasionally put a question box up, but I love being able to answer these on the podcast. So come follow me, come say hi. Would love to meet you guys. Also, make sure you have subscribed to the YouTube channel. You'll never miss any of our content, any of our podcasts. And as always, we're gonna end with 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.